Hello everyone, welcome back to another Ableton tutorial. My goodness, there's a lot going on in the background. Let's calm things down a bit, shall we? Let's go here. Let's go here. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. That's a bit calmer. That's a bit nicer. Right, okay. Big shout out all the new Patreon members. It means a lot, all the support over there. Big shout out all the new YouTube commenters, likers, subscribers. You know the deal. Big thank you. Right, what are we looking at today? Well, both of the things that you just heard, the squelchy, weird, noisy, glitchy thing and this sort of melodic thing that's happening in the background were made using the same rack and even in fact the same MIDI clip. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. It's a technique called Hocketing. Now Hocketing has been around in music for quite some time. It began with Gregorian chants in the Middle Ages. And the technique involves taking a melody, but then giving each note in that melody to a different voice. So you cycle through who is singing each particular note in the melody, and you get this lovely evolving sound, this sort of thing that feels connected, but it continues changing. It was used also by guys like Skrillex, and the early days of Electroclash, and that's Electroclash. What was that scene called? Yeah, the early days of that scene used it in a very different way with huge, distorted, cut-up samples to create that kind of intense, frenetic type of sound. So we're going to look at today how to make a rack inside of Ableton that lets you do Hocketing, and then we're going to look at how to explore that technique. So let's press stop. I've got a drum loop happening. Going to press stop on that drum loop. In fact, there's some delays happening, so and this is the Hocketing rack, and as usual, I'm just gonna delete everything, and we're gonna begin from the start. So if I delete that, we have nothing. In fact, well, we have one thing. We have a MIDI clip. It's just some notes that I programmed in, playing a little sort of F minor-y thing. You can see it there. Right, okay. So let's begin, but let's bring in an operator so we can hear what that melody is doing. An operator. Let's just do a little bit of... So, there, exactly, there. You can see that this melody, we've got one note there, yeah. So it's a 16th notes melody. If you're wanting to follow along, you see exactly what I'm doing today. I'm at 90 BPM, if you're wondering why yours is not quite sounding the same. Got a couple of comments about that. So here we are, we have this melody playing. Right, so now we need to find a way to make each note of this melody cycle through different voices. So first thing I'm going to do is group the operator. I'm going to press Command G. I'm going to open up this little guy here. And that, what exactly is the name of that tab? Show Hide Chain List. I'm going to click on Show Hide Chain List. And I'm going to duplicate this. Command D. I'm going to mute the first one, and I'm just going to change this sound a little bit. Let's actually go for something like a saw wave. Now I'm going to duplicate that, mute the top one. I'm going to create something different on this. Let's go for something like a triangle wave. I think that might sound, it's another different-y sound. And I'm going to duplicate that. And we've got one more triangle wave, and this time, going to bring in a bit of FM modulation on that, being done by the second operator there. Right, so we have these 4 different sounds. Let's make it cycle through the sounds. So the way we're going to do that is using the keychain. No, not the keychain, just the chain. Not the keychain, but the actual chain. And I'm going to drag this all the way to the end. I'm going to select them all. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to click Distribute Ranges Equally. So now we only have, there we go. Now we're back to just the first one. And you can hear, as I move this guy through, it's playing the different synths. That sawtooth one was quite a lot louder, perceivably louder. Right, so I'm going to connect this chain selector to a macro. I'm going to hit map, and we're going to hit that, and that's now on that macro. Right, so now I have this as a way of moving through, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to use an expression control, so MIDI effects, expression control in the start, and we have in here, if we open this drop-down list, we can see increment. And we have a number of steps here. So if we change this to 4 steps, and you can see it's moving up incrementally. Each time a new MIDI note comes in, it's moving up the values incrementally. And so we can now just map this to the chain selector. It's only going on the first 2 because this is only set to 50%. So we turn that up to 100%. And now we have a melody that is hocketing through these 4 sounds that I made. Now, when we have a melody that's hocketing, I mean, this is the technique. This is the technique. If you came here to learn the technique, that's done. But if you want to stay and learn more and think about some interesting ways we can explore it, stick around. You're adults, you can make your own decisions. Right, so we can hear that this sawtooth is happening at the same point in every bar, and that's because we've got a melody that's 16 notes long, and because we have 4 hocketing things, it means that this is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third one, this is the fourth one, this is the first one, this is the second, and so on, and it cycles through. So, if you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll know that I like things that kind of phase with each other, that evolve and grow. So instead of 4 of these, we're going to make this 5. So let's add one more down the bottom. Let's do a little bit of sound design on this. So what might be nice to add to this? Let's maybe make this one actually a bit... and give it a bit more release. Lovely. Now, again, I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to right-click, distribute ranges equally. We're going to turn them all back on. And now we need to change the number of steps here to 5. So now you hear, like, we get this melody is kind of now divided up into 5-note groups, and each of these different sounds is sort of chasing each other through that particular melody that happens when you play every 5th note in this sequence. So yeah, I keep clicking backwards and forwards. We don't need to. You can hear what I'm saying. You can understand. So let's do a little bit more sound designy stuff on here. So maybe on this last one that we added, it's interesting to add an echo. Let's come in here. Let's add an echo. Let's bring the dry wet down to, and let's add a bit of the, what do they call this? The delay offset, add a little bit of delay offset there. And in fact, let's bring in another expression control as a, I'm going to use my EC random preset. This is a preset that I made on the expression control where everything is already set to random because I seem to like using random stuff a lot. So let's connect this with the left and right here. Now it's doing some pitchy stuff. We're going to turn off repitch here. Now we're getting the every time this operator is receiving a new MIDI signal, so not every note, but only every 5th note, we're getting a new value here. And let's actually bring this down a bit and let's make this bipolar. So it can go in both directions. Yeah, that's kind of nice. We're getting some interesting results. Let's also connect this with the feedback. That would be fun. So every now and then we'll get a situation where it's kind of on the edge of really going, there we go, there we go. It delivered when I said it. Every now and then you'll get a situation where it's sort of right on the edge of turning into a 100% feedback. But then because it's randomizing, it's gonna bring itself back in line. This is cool. What else can we do here? Let's maybe, because we've got this random expression control, let's maybe add something to this decay time here. So too much, just a little bit of delay. Yeah, this is nice. Okay, let's do a little bit of sound design on some of these other things. So this is the sawtoothy one. Let's add reverb, always sounds nice on these kind of synths. So let's use a hybrid reverb in here. Maybe a bit too much. Let's add a bit of release. little bit of LFO to that. Yeah, lovely. Okay, now we have this one. Let's add another random expression control. This was the first one that had FM on it, and so maybe just something nice for here is actually just this, the amount of FM. Yeah. So now as we're sort of dividing these sounds up, giving them their own kind of space, we're hearing it actually really changes the way that they interlock and connect together. This is the first one. This is the one that is just the straight sine wave. Actually, maybe let's use a bit crusher on this. So let's come up here. Where's Redux? Redux, where have you gone? Redux. Oh, no, we want you inside the chain. And let's again add another expression control. And I only want this to be quite a subtle thing. So what I'm going to do is find sort of the most extreme setting that I might want. Which might actually be something like that. And now I'm going to keep these on unipolar, so it's only going to add a value above one of these. And let's actually also connect it to the wet dry here. Yeah, maybe this is nice. Yeah. So, how does that sound with the drums? Let's unmute the drums. Let's have a listen. So there you go. That's the basic technique, and that's how we get it working on a melodic patch. Now let's take a look at the more sort of glitch-orientated patch. Press stop on the drums. You seem to still be wanting to play something, so I'm just gonna... Oh yeah, it's because I have like one super long loop sample in there that's just a trigger that goes for 4 bars. Right, okay. Now, this was the glitchy version. I'm just gonna delete that, and we're gonna make it again from scratch. So I have here 5 samples that I've taken from my modular, and if you're in the market for these kind of samples, I'm going to be putting a big pack of this stuff on my Patreon coming at the end of the week. Yeah, so if this is the kind of stuff that you like playing around with, there's a bunch of stuff coming for you there on Patreon. So let's have a listen. I've got one sample. It sounds like a broken modem. We have another one here. That's a lovely deep drone. We have another one here labeled rude bass. That's going to be... Oh, that's fun. That's sort of just some distorted bass modulation stuff. Some hyper distortion stuff. And some R2-D2 sounds. Fun. Okay. So, oh, yeah, you can stop. Thank you. Right. So, we're gonna see what we can do with those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this channel, Command D. I'm going to turn the melodic one off, and let's actually drag this MIDI clip down to another channel. So it's the same MIDI clip as before, doing exactly the same thing. Now I'm going to go to my rack here where I have my instruments, and I'm just going to delete all of these operators. And I'm going to drag these 5 samples in here one by one. 5. And I'm going to repeat the process. Chain selector, we're going to open that all the way up. Select all of them, distribute ranges equally. And now, already, let's see. Okay. Fun. Right, let's do a little bit of mapping and a little bit of changing the way these sounds are working. So I'm going to map the attack to macro 2, the decay to macro 3, and the sustain to macro 4. And I'm going to do that for all siblings. And let's actually map the volume. No, I want to keep those separate, actually. Okay, so now I can... So now we can change the way that all of the samples are working quite easily. Let's leave it there for now. Let's bring in a little bit. Actually, let's bring in one random on each of these. And I'm just going to map it to the start position of each of these samples, so we're not getting the exact same section of the sample every time. Map you to the start. Map you to the start. And map you to the start position. Right. So now each time each one of these samples is being triggered, you can see it's starting from a different point. And so we're having this sort of lovely, again, it's feeling the same, it's the same sound, but we're looking for patterns in the loop, and we're able to find them because we do hear these sounds cycling through in some strange kind of order. Now, what I might do as a bit of processing on this to glue it all together, I actually think this will sound pretty. This is job for OTT, isn't it? It's a job for OTT. Lovely. Maybe bring down a... This is pretty cool. Let's try the drums. Yeah. So there you go. That's hocketing. Hocketing with samples, hocketing with melodies. Depending on what you put into this rack, of course, it vastly changes the outcome. But the technique, I think, is super interesting, super versatile. Would love to hear anything that you guys are exploring with it. Drop links down in the comments. Thanks for being here. Have fun hocketing.